Hello to our viewers. Welcome to Health and Education Show. Yes, today I'm joined by a big team. Yes, our guest. I remember we had him last time where we were discussing caring for the soul, and now we have this new topic which we'll have today with him, which is suicide, dear suicide. Yes, before I go further, my name is Mr. Dominic, graduate from the University of Zambia, microbiologist. And yes, my fellow, I think can now introduce themselves. Yes, I start from here. Yeah.
Hello viewers, my name is Betty Grace Mwale, a member of VOES and a graduate from the University of Zambia.
Okay.
Hello viewers, I'm also a member of Voice of Ecclesia Choir, and my name is Mary Zimba. I am a clinical officer by profession. Yes, currently I am a volunteering person at Mtendere Clinic.
Okay, that's great. Now it's chance. Since we've introduced ourselves, now it's chance for our guest to introduce himself. Yes.
So hi viewers, I think I did introduce myself the time. So Paul Simon Mzakazi Piri, that's my name. I'm an author. I'm a podcaster, educator. I'm also a undergraduate, my first degree at the University of Zambia. I did my master's at the University of India, DPU, in business administration and ICT. Above all, I'm a lover of humanity, passion, art, visual art, as well as the youths.
Wow, that's great. That's great. Yeah. Yeah. So,
thank you.
I'm
The biggest.
I said this, even our viewers, but yeah, yes. Yeah, so, yeah, as the topic is saying, suicide. Yes, suicide. So, I think Paul can tell us what is suicide? What is it?
You see, I want to borrow from how we have framed it, dear suicide, because by nature, suicide is an ugly topic, and that's something that we should just be honest about. Quite a number of people do not want to talk about it. And you see, I want to treat this topic with a lot of respect, a lot of sensitivity, because I am aware, the person who's watching this, you might be a victim of suicide. You might be battling with suicide, or at the same time, you might have lost someone from suicide. But I want to tell you what, I sympathize with you. Now, let's borrow it from last time, the care of the soul. We said a soul is what makes us be who we are. And when you begin to care for the soul, you bring out the best attraction, the best energy that you do not have, that you thought you never had. Now, when you do not bring out those energies, you do not bring out the best, you do not become the best which you need to become. You become frustrated, stuck, confused, lost. In psychology, they always say you put a full stop towards the end. It's like you reach towards the end of your thought processing. Then you think this is it. And quite a number of people, they have told themselves this is it. Pasira, I think in Apera. So suicide is when one take their own life prematurely, or I want to put it that way, is when one take their life or cut off their life prematurely when it wasn't time. And they did that with the full knowledge, with the full consent to themselves that they cannot continue to go on. I'd like to borrow a little bit from the psychological point of view of suicide. It is when you feel you cannot go on to entertain the thought processing that makes a human being. And now when you borrow it in the philosophical sense, you look at suicide, they say suicide is when you get tired of existing and you feel living is not worthwhile. So you just put a full stop out of that. Now when you also borrow it in the theological school of thought, they always say it is when morally and ethically you feel you are not contributing anything to the universe and you feel you are incomplete. And in the mystical school of thought, I'll borrow from Thomas More, who usually say it is when the hell of the soul win you their side. But what am I saying here? Suicide, dear suicide, is when you put a stop and an end to your life prematurely.
Wow. Okay. That's a really brilliant definition. Wow. That's great. What do you think?
This topic, guys. So, talking about suicide, and we talked about so and how to care for it. But if you see now in our generation, because of this social media and everything that's around us, most people are posting, they're okay, they're like you can't know that you can't know. Everyone is happy, everyone is fine, and in this texting era, you can find pick up on a laughing emoji. If they are laughing
or not,
or they are not. So, like, what are the symptoms? How can we know that this person is actually battling with suicide thoughts or suicide? Yes.
All right. So that's a very legitimate question, and you see, your question has reminded me of a certain conversation I had with my young brother. We were just trying to be philosophers for no reason, but I think that was even necessary. Yeah, and one of the question we're asking ourselves is, do people who kill themselves communicate that they want to kill themselves? And maybe that's the question I would like to pose to the viewers. But then our simplest conclusion was, yes, they do. They do, and I'm going to explain how. And maybe, I hope you not feel bad, but a lot of us will be found guilty of this particular kind of a thing. So one of the symptoms of suicide is isolation. You're going to discover that someone who used to mingle with people, someone who used to be with people around, suddenly they just isolate themselves. They disappear from social media. They no longer post anymore. They don't usually come to church as usual. If they were in the choir in Voice of Ecclesia, they stop coming there. You begin to wonder why. And they even stop talking much. They're even direct to the point. These are people, when you call them, they'll be all over the phone as if it's them, it's their even talk time. But this time around, when you call them, you're the one even pushing for a conversation. They isolate themselves. That is one indication. Number two, low energies. You see this person that was just all over, when they enter the room, you feel them, no, this is Dominic, this is Mary that has entered the room. But this time around, you will be shocked. Hey, Mary is even around. The energies are low. They're dwindling and they are no longer there. You can feel them. There's a certain sense in which you can feel a person, even though they have not said anything. You can even say, Betty is around, Paul is around, though they have not said anything. But look, this is a person that you can't feel them. You feel something is draining them, and all sort of things. Number three is negativity. These people will become negative suddenly. You try to bring up an issue of a relationship, they'll tell you men are dogs, a relationship doesn't work, someone who used to encourage you that this can work, but now they are telling you certain things can't work, vamalavu ni marabish, then just from there you begin to see something is wrong. These are people that they'll not tell you that this is what they're battling with, but the levels of negativity, and they're just negative about anything and everything about their life. So the deepest levels of negativity begins to tell you that there is something wrong with this particular person. Now I want to shift the coin on the other side. These are obvious things that people see. These are obvious things that you can detect. But now, there is a funny side of suicide. Now, this is where I'm going to answer the question to say, do people communicate when they want to commit suicide? Yes, affirmatively, yes, they do communicate. Number one, there are certain people that are happy.
Okay.
Yes. Right now, you look at me, the way I'm talking with a lot of energies, but you don't know that in my bag, actually, I even have doom. I'm going to kill myself. This is the hardest part. And this is the thing. I'll borrow from what Betty said. People are happy, but they're not happy. And I love it what Thomas More said. The symptom or the disease that we're struggling with right now, it is what is known as psychological modernism. What it simply means, psychological modernism, is we want to fit in, we want to go with time, and we want to belong there. So there's another side of suicide where someone is happy with a lot of energy and throwing a lot of energy. I had a friend. Okay. I met this friend in Uganda, but she's from Nigeria. Okay. So this girl was very, very good, but very quiet. This is a lady that you can push words in her mouth, but you don't say anything, she can be quiet. But over a sudden, this is the lady we started seeing her dancing on TikTok, dancing on WhatsApp status. And people thought as if, oh no, she's enjoying life. But as we knew her, we said, something wrong. This is not her. What happened? That was after maybe 2 months after we discussed about that. And she died. She committed suicide. With very happy videos on TikTok. Yes, so there is a side of suicide where a person can give you that they're okay, but inside actually they are dying. No, as a matter of fact, inside there's even a tombstone. This person died a long time ago. They are just moving there. Number two, the other side of suicide, the other symptom is they'll be giving you signs. Some people, my fellow friends here, they do communicate. They'll tell you, imagine Nabwera nafa. What can you do? Yeah. When you listen to the kind of music they are listening, the funeral songs, and when you look at what they post on their social or stories or whatever, it's something to do of you remember me. Then some of us we don't pay attention to that, but they're actually communicating that I might go one day. And I have seen such cases. I have lost friends, I have lost relatives, that I go back to their status to go and check that actually this person did communicate. Then, last but not the least, there is this one of, which is very difficult to confirm, where a person says, I'm fine, I have it all together. That is why people that are closer to my contact, there is something I always refuse. How are you? I am fine. I usually refuse that. Or how are you? No, I am marvelous. I know you are marvelous, but how are you? You see, let us develop a culture. Us in the studio, but even those that are viewing this. I want to tell you this. When you greet someone, go beyond I'm fine. And some of us will just end, I'm fine. And it ends there. And they say, no, Dominic. No, they are not fine. People, we are not fine. Actually, let's be real. I'm not trying to be political. please get me correctly, things are not well. Let's not even pretend. Let's not even be spiritual. Things are not well. The economy is not well. Employment is a challenge. Everything is a challenge at the moment, and we're not putting blame on anyone. So people are going through a lot. And for people to begin to pour out that, you see, me, I lost a job, me, I'm passing through a heartbreak, me, they'll just say, I'm fine. And it ends there. So learn to go beyond I'm fine. Just tell them, I know you're fine, with all due respect. But how you put it even in capital letters, then you see that a person will begin to cry. This happened to me yesterday. I was attending a friend's meeting at church. And when I attend the meeting, this is a friend I met a long time ago. And after we greeted, Uliko po, Uliko. And I just said, how have you been? And very quickly, this man said, I'm fine, brother. And I looked through. When I say I see you, I look through your eyes, not in your eyes, but through your eyes, and say, brother, how have you been?
Okay.
And he just said, you know what? Let's sit and let's talk a little bit. And that's when I discovered that, oh, you. So if I just ended to say, how are you, have you been? I've been fine, it would have ended there. People are not okay. So learn to probe a little bit. Not because you want to invade their privacy. Just get a little bit more concerned. People have closed up. That's the last thing I would tell you. One of the symptoms is people who close up on you. They'll just end with short words. I'm fine, I'm okay. They'll be running away from certain sensitive conversation, and just know something is not well. So when you understand these symptoms, definitely you will know this is how we're going to get to handle such a situation.
Oh, wow. That's great. Yeah. I can at least now. So with these symptoms that I've now learned, I think it's getting me somewhere. Yes. Yeah. I'm more comfortable doing right by. Oh yeah. I'm more comfortable taking these symptoms that I'm trying to get something. Yes. I think I'm married.
Okay, Mr. Paul. Yeah, since you've said that a lot of people are closed up themselves, they don't want to open up, like it's hard for them to show. Yes, symptoms are there. You've brought out most of them. Now, how does one handle, this suicide? Since it is with me, maybe I'm working with it, maybe I'm already imagining myself dead. Like, how am I going to handle it, this burden that I'm carrying? Yeah.
You see, there's a certain event in which Mother Teresa, who is now Saint Teresa of Calcutta, said that do not look down on people who kill other people. Do not look down on people who do prostitution because they're doing prostitution. Because every person has got a capacity to murder, and every person has got the capacity to do prostitution. It's only that some of you, your demons are well tamed. They are well controlled.
Wow.
So where am I trying to get at? Where I'm trying to get at is every person has got the capacity to commit suicide.
Yes.
Because every person, no matter how strong you might be, there are times you are always at your lowest. Sometimes it's not always that from 365 and quarter days, everything it to be glory, to be hallelujah, and no. There are times it to be Lenten, it to be Good Friday, where you are alone. You feel things are not working out. You are applying, things are not working out. With all due respect, you discover for 2 years you're just volunteering and they're not picking you. Then you'll be at your lowest. Suicide will creep in. And I love it. Let me borrow from what St. Thomas More said. He said, every person has got a shadow in their soul. So, Dominic, you have this shadow. Okay. I have this shadow. You'll be shocked to say, honestly, killing themselves. You don't understand. You don't understand the shadow that I carry. So one of the things that, in order to understand and how to handle suicide, is one of the things we should understand that we go with it. The way that song that we sing, Tienda na Infa, we go with death every time. We also go with suicide every time. It is only because we put it under control. It's only that other people, because of different factors and different temperamental issues, they did not manage to put it under control, and that's how they lost it. But because number one, we should understand as a human being, you are a social entity. You are also an emotional entity. Vamene vivetkondoza the many that mamuna samarira. It is the more reason why you are making us to commit more suicide, because you are blocking us to express ourselves. Because I'm gonna look weak. Imagine me coming to cry before my girlfriend, or coming to cry before my wife. Number one, you know. So I'm just gonna cry to myself. Vikavut, I'm going to kill myself. So let's first of all reconcile this, that every person to some extent they work with this. It is just that it is under care. Then number one, how then do we handle suicide cases? Number one, develop. This now goes first to the outside people, to the society, and I always have an issue with society. Society, we have also contributed to suicide cases, and I feel bad where we go on social media to say they would have talked to me. They would, but when these people share your story or they share their story, it will be all over. You find it on their status saying alamwandi vantwapita mvambi.
Yes.
Someone's story. You see, so society must create an environment where people can be vulnerable. Let me tell you, these days to be vulnerable is a scam. That's why people have closed up. That's why people, they don't share. Because I share my story, I'm going to see it all over Facebook. Yes. But you can trust that this is my story. This is my issue. So one of the reasons why people will not share is because of the environment. So the society should create an environment. Number two, let us become intentional. Let us make up our mind to have support groups. We don't have such many. We have left this to specialized institutions like hospitals and so on. But deliberately, like Voice of Ecclesia, why don't you think of just coming up with a focus group discussion to say, guys, the men on your own, let's sit, guys. What is it that is eating us up as men? Let men pour out and let everything remain there. Let men cry there. Ladies, do the same. That is how you begin to handle suicide in people's issues. Number two, you don't need to say a lot to people. Assure people that you'll be there for them. Assure them, although they have not told you, just tell them, Dominic, you know what? I don't know what you're passing through. I don't know the hell you're going through. But you know what, Dominic? I'm just a phone call away. You want to talk to someone? I am there for you. Then that person, whether they don't want to talk about it, they don't want to express about it, one or the other, they know that there are people that are dependable. People that at least one or the other can go and express myself to this particular people. And this is how we begin to handle suicide. Now, it comes back. That was from the side of the other side. Now, as an individual, how do you handle? How do you battle with certain suicidal issues? Number one, learn to accept that there are certain things you can control and there are certain things you cannot control. And let me be a little bit more strong on this one, especially the young people that are going through heartbreak. Look, you cannot force someone to love you. If that particular person says, Vasira, Sakufuna, look, it is okay not to be wanted. It is okay to be rejected. It is okay someone to tell you that you're not my type. It is okay for someone to tell you that you deserve better. And you cannot control that. What you can control is that I'm a good person. I'll still believe in love. I'll still become a better person. They fire you. They have not fired your skill. You still go back with your skill. So you still continue to develop your skill. You still go back and apply it to another place. Someone else is going to love you. Someone else is going to hire you at the same time. Other people don't appreciate you. Other people are going to appreciate you. Look, we're talking about 7 or 6 billion population here. Don't tell me because Lusaka hates you, then Wapula will hate you. No, that's not true. So learn to live with things that you cannot control. The problem with us human beings is that we want to control even that which we cannot control. And this is where the frustration is coming in. Now, because you cannot control that which cannot be controlled, you start forcing things, you end up becoming depressed. Then you say, excuse me, it's because you're trying to control things that you cannot control. Make up your mind, my dear viewers. What is it that you can control? And what is it that you cannot control? Number 2, love yourself too much. Love yourself too much. I don't know how I'm going to put this, but love this too much. Friends, we want other people to love us better more than we love ourselves. Some of us, we don't even love ourselves. I'm going to challenge you with this. Okay. When last did you buy yourself a beautiful shirt, an expensive shirt, just for yourself? When last did you buy yourself a beautiful phone, just for yourself, just to say, I'm congratulating you for being handsome? Do not wait for other people to tell you that you're handsome. Tell yourself, I am handsome. Look at yourself in the mirror in the morning and say, Paul, you know what? You are handsome. Before Mary, before Betty tell me that I'm handsome, I am there. You see, life is interesting when what other people can tell you, you always tell yourself that. This is what begins to make life healthy. You know why life is becoming like you think is not healthy? It's because you're waiting Dominic to tell me that, Paul, you are good. No. Tell yourself, I'm good. I am good in my own world. And that is why I always tell people, have solo dates. When last did you take yourself for a date? Let's be deliberate. Just on your own, buy yourself KFC, buy yourself Nando's, just for yourself. A lot of us were depressed because not a number of people wished us happy birthday, and saying, I want to know fake, I want to know plastic. Somehow there's a plastic attitude in us because we are waiting for other people to do that. Do that on yourself. Then these are the people to become a plus, because you always you have that within yourself, and this is how you begin to combat suicide. Suicide will go very far away from you. Then you're going to look at suicide as dear. You will not call it at bad suicide. You're going to look at dear suicide. Why? Because there's this love. There's too much love within yourself. This is an instance where if someone is to say, Vasira, let's break up, you're going just to say, it's okay, it's fine. Then people think as if you never cared. No, you cared. It's only because you're just too much of yourself. And when I say too much of yourself, I don't mean that you become selfish. No, I simply means there are times you need to put yourself first, which means you need to forgive yourself a number of times. You need to appreciate yourself a number of times. You need to accept yourself. Too much of yourself doesn't mean that now you start putting yourself in front of, now you become too selfish. No, learn to love yourself, learn to care for yourself, learn to take care of yourself. Don't wait for someone to tell you that muzi samba. No, samba powder nyarara for your own self, not for another person. Why? Because you love yourself. You know, there should be a way where people should be saying, but this guy love himself. This person, this is what Plato said. Plato, among us all the things he said, what are the things he said? You have been entrusted to you, to yourself. And this is my favorite quote. You have been entrusted to you, to yourself. Because at the end of the day, God is going to ask you one of these questions. How did you take care of yourself? You know, we should be growing. You should be growing. Don't be growing because you're in a relationship. Be growing even when you are single. Uzitowa. Mwana wa mai. Learn kutowa. Tiendi zitowa kumtawizina. Because we are children of God. Understand your voice of ecclesia? We are voice of the church, if I can put it that way. So when a person look at this guy is from voice of ecclesia, they should be saying, okay, this person is even growing. This person is taking care of themselves. Last but not the least, taking self-acceptance. Learn to accept yourself. You know, the majority of people right now, as I'm speaking, they're insecure of themselves. And that is why we've got transgender. That is why this is a man admiring to be a woman. And this is a woman admiring to be a man. A lot of people are insecure of themselves. And psychology has reviewed. I love what Professor Jordan Peterson, the university professor of Toronto, what he said. That 90% of people, when they stand before the mirror, they are not appreciating themselves. They are criticizing themselves. When people stand before the mirror, they're not saying, oh, I've got beautiful eyes. When they stand before the mirror, what are they doing? They're saying, okay, I am handsome, but the ears. So you are there 30 minutes not appreciating yourself, but criticizing yourself. So there should be a way where you should accept yourself that I am a male. I am tall. I am dark in complexion and I am slim, and that is just who I am. I am a lady. I am coming from this particular place. Nichoka kukomboni, nichoka kumtendere, kwa mene malaiti yavuta for 2 days, and that is where I am coming from. And that is who I am. When we begin to do those things, you are going to discover that even when we have got certain triggers, or when certain things do not work how we plan them, you still remain to be yourself. So you're going to discover that quite a number of people, they have lost themselves because you have given power to other people. Mother Angelina, there's something she said. She said, a lot of us, we are not in control. A lot of us have given power to other people because our opinion, it is about how does Dominic think about me. That is why there are certain people who cannot make decision on their own. They'll think, there are certain people that before they make a certain decision, it has to pass through a tribunal, or it has to pass through a cabinet of maybe 6 friends. Where you going is a bra, umwana branju mamuna, hangani right? And come on, when are you going to stand up for yourself and say, this is what I'm standing for, and this is what I believe is for me. Now, when you begin to look at that, society is going to handle suicide very well, and you yourself, when you have got those triggers of suicide, you are going to handle it. You're going to see, I am above what this is coming for me.
That's really nice. Dear society. It's not dear society.
You not challenge me, dear society.
Dear society. Yes, it's very interesting, and I'm sure our viewers are enjoying our show, this topic, because you've really helped a lot. You've explained how someone needs to handle suicide. Yes, I think just to follow it up, maybe I can ask you this question. Yes, how can you heal, or maybe we heal these victims of suicide?
Victims of suicide.
Yes.
All right. I'm going to go back to our previous topic, care of the soul. You see, you have even used the word heal,
Yes.
but me, I'm going to say care.
Wow.
Why am I using the word care? Yes, there are certain things that we can heal. Okay, you tell me that I'm ugly, I'm going to heal about it. Because at a certain point, I'm going to go to the salon, I'm going to go to the gym, and I'll start looking good, and I'm going to heal. But let me tell you, there are certain things that we are going to go to the grave with.
Oh, okay.
And one of them is death. And that is why, deliberately, there's a book I'm working on, actually it's coming out next month.
Okay. Wow.
In this book, I've used the word care, not heal. So when I say care, it simply means when you're dealing with issues to do with victims of death, someone who killed themselves in death, you will not heal today. You will not heal next month. You can deal with it. I was journeying with someone, and I'm sharing this with permission, because I was even talking to her yesterday. I said I'm going to use an example, but I'll not mention the name.
Okay.
This lady, she is 32 this year, and she's married with 2 kids. Her mother, with all due respect, died out of suicide. She was sent, they prepared the girl to go to church, and the mother remained. Until now, we don't know what frustrated the mother. By the time she was coming back to church, she discovered that the mother killed herself. And this girl, I'm talking about someone who is 32. Until now, the way this lady mourns about that loss, it's like it happened yesterday. Now, when you begin to tell this lady to say heal, you are doing an injustice. Care. Now, why am I saying care? Why am I using the word care? Care, it simply means live with the beast. There's a Greek story of a certain ugly man, very ugly, that the whole society rejected this man. But this man had a torch there. So one lady admired this ugly man. And when the village asked to say, Why have you fallen in love with this ugly man? To say, I have overlooked all the ugly features, but what attracted me is the touch.
Wow.
So in every situation, even in suicide, do not pick out to say, why angaspire in a suicide? Why they can do that? And that's what we are quick to say. But when you begin to heal, which I'm saying care, is you tell people to live with the ugly situation. Okay. Because when you go in healing, we are trying to say, remove the pain. And I think you agree with me as the clinical officer. When someone goes to the clinic, we go for healing, which means we want the pain to go away. But one of the things that society doesn't tell us is it is also okay to live with the pain. Yes, that's why the reason we're calling this topic as Dear Suicide. Because the wound of suicide in a person that has experienced suicide will not go easily. So, if it will not go easily, what should we do? Should we wait for 15 years for these people to heal? No. Care. Walk with this. And this is what Thomas More says. In the soul of a person, there is heaven and there is hell. So for salvation to be attained, you must understand hell and you must understand heaven. So suicide falls under hell of the soul because that is painful. And we want to put it under to say, IVI. Let me try to suppress this. No. Live with the pain. Live with low. Today I feel low. It's okay. Tell a person it's okay. It's okay to feel bad. It's okay to remember them. It is okay to feel what you're feeling. Oh. Don't tell them to say, no, move on. Now, let me then say something about moving on. This issue of telling people to move on, that's another injustice. Okay. Tell people to say, remain there. Me, this is one thing I'm going to tell you. Come to me and tell me that I'm going through a heartbreak. I'm going to tell you, remain there. Feel the pain. Feel everything. Now, when you feel that this is enough, then you begin to walk. So, but we are quick to say, Iwa now move on, no. Tell them, hang in there. Remain in there. Feel the pain. Feel the side of light, the darkness, see the good part where today you're laughing, tomorrow you're sad. Feel all that mixture until the soul says, I can fit here. Until the wound says, I think I'll settle here. But the problem that we do, the reason why we have got difficulties to move on from the pain of suicide is because we are quick to say, Vivaleko. No. In healing, actually, when someone is on the journey of healing, there should be a lot of remembering, actually. Okay. You must remember, actually. So if you come to me with a breakup story, I'm going to say, can you remember the good days you had with the girl? And this is what people don't try to avoid. No, that's an injustice. You are not caring for the soul. And this is the more reason after 15 years or 5 years, you bump into your ex. Then all the emotion comes back to say, me, I thought that I had healed. Me, I thought that I'm better. You were quick to move on. Remain there. Just say, I'm going to be here. Okay. If it means I'm going to be here for a year, I'm going to be here because I'm caring for my soul. I want my soul to mourn. I want my soul to cry. When the soul says, it's enough, Paul. Now let us look on the other side. Then, Dominic, you have cared for the wound. You have cared for the trauma. And when you're going to bump into an issue to do with suicide, it will not trigger you. You're just going to be okay. And people are going to say, this one truly wounded. But what do we do? Okay. Immediately after suicide, we start distracting ourselves. We start convincing ourselves, I'm okay. I'm better. Life should move on. Yes, life should move on. But do not pay a blind ear. In It's Never Enough, my first book, I even mentioned to say, feelings are attention seekers. Always give them attention. When they appear, don't say, why is my ex appearing? Person attention. Why is this person who died of suicide appearing? Give them attention. Listen to them. Dear pen, what do you want to tell me today? I'm here. I'm listening. Then feel it, cry. After that, you'll be okay. It is a journey. You are caring. When you care enough, immediately hearing comes on its own. So I want to tell you this, and I want to change the narrative of how the viewers have been saying. Before you heal, you must care. You must bring your wound here. Look at it, care for it, nurse for it, clean the wound every day. Put spirit on the wound every day, which means talking about it. It's not wrong. I always tell people it's not wrong. Even a person died 5 years ago, it's not wrong to talk about it even today. You know what, Dominic, are you free? look, today I'm just remembering my cousin who killed himself. You know, I remember such a day that we could have a long chat. I miss him. I miss him so much. If he was here, I'd love to be here. Even for 5 years, it's okay. That's the language of the soul. That's what it means to care for the soul. It means you talk about it, you remember about it, and after you finish, you surrender to say, you know what, my soul, we are going to be okay one day. Not today, and this is what Tupac, sorry if I'm quoting Tupac, maybe they are not fans, but this is something that Tupac Shakur once said. There's something Tupac said. We are going to be fine. Not today, not tomorrow, but someday. But I don't know the day, but someday we are going to be fine. So I'm really so sorry to some of you, some of us that have experienced suicide, that are victim of suicide. Maybe your mother, your father, your cousin, your loved one, they committed suicide. Right. What I'm going to tell you, do not avoid it. Face it head on. Face it head on. Be more, do less. Be more, do less. Do not force it to heal. Do not force it to go. Just be available. Be available to the pain. And that is how you heal. And that is how you care. And that is how you're going to be there. So all those that have experienced death, today I'm telling you, don't heal it. Care for it. Care for it. Care for it. Care for it enough. Go back to that. What is it that I didn't do enough? Did I mourn enough? No. Grieve enough. Cry enough. And this is what Thomas More, again I'm quoting from his book, where he said, grieve enough, cry enough, because tears, when they have expressed themselves enough, then they have also expressed the language of love. And that is when you begin to talk about suicide, or you begin to talk about your breakup, you're going to talk about it from the point of love, not from the point of hate. So that when you begin to talk about suicide, you're going to say, Vima chitika, koma, timapola, pantawi yake.
Dear society.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really great. I think our viewers are also with us, regular. Yes, I thank you so much. I am enjoying, Okay. It's really great, yes. So, Paul, having this discussion, how do we involve God in this all suicide cases and everything? How do we involve God there?
From the beginning until the end, it is God. Actually.
Oh.
You see, when dealing with the pain of suicide, before even come to a person who has died of suicide, you, a person who is struggling with issues to do with suicide, talk to human beings, yes, but above all, talk to God.
Oh.
And tell him. Now, when I mean talk to God, you see, there's also a lot of doings there. No, be more. When talking to God, do less, but be more. What do I mean? Sometimes deliberately just put a chair there and just say, God, please have a seat.
What a wonderful conversation.
Let's have a conversation.
Okay.
God, I do not understand why I'm qualified, but I don't have a job. I'm handsome, but I'm always rejected by ladies. I'm beautiful, but I'm always rejected. I just want to understand why. It's like this. God, I'm not blaming you, but this is enough. It's too much. God, I'm here. So, God is our Father. God is our Father. And that is why when I'm advising people after a traumatic or during a traumatic experience, I don't advise them to do much of these energetic prayers, in inverted commas.
Okay.
Some of them I tell them, this is a time to be contemplative actually. This is a time where you can summon God as a father, having a conversation with him like he is your father. Tell him, express yourself to him, tell him, God, I'm here. Yes, so involve God, especially when you're stuck, especially when you have seen that human beings are not doing enough. Human beings are just telling me, move on, vima chitika, in life. Go back to God. Now, how do you do that? Number one, the space of Catholics. Number one one of them that can help is the high summit of prayer, which is Mass. I have attended Mass. In my own experience, I've gone through Mass. I can have my low tone of my burden. I don't remember going in Mass and coming back, I'm still the same.
Wow.
There is just something that I feel it has been lightened up. Why? Because in Mass, we meet God in totality. I love, pardon me, I love to say this in Chewa. Tumakumanana mulungu watuntu. Wene mulungu in Mass. Why? Because in the Eucharist, Jesus is there. Alimo, tupi, ndimagazi. And so this is where you summon yourself. So love Mass. You feel low, go for Mass. Talk to our spiritual directors, because these are avenues that God himself has placed. Read the scripture. Deliberately pick the Psalms every day. Read Psalms chapter 1. Tomorrow Psalms chapter 2. And make it as your own. So read the scripture. Find the scripture. Find your favorite book in the Bible. Then read it there. Relate it to your own story. Above all, you cannot overcome suicide with your intellectual capacity. You cannot overcome suicide or the pain of you lost someone out of suicide with just to say, and this is what course I say, this is what limba, but there is a point which you're going to be stuck. Grace. I love what St. Anton the Great of the Desert says. All is grace. So when you know that this is beyond me, ask for grace. And this is what God says, in your lowest, that is where my grace is sufficient. So there where you feel here, I'm going to lose it. This is where the grace is sufficient. Actually, let me tell you, that time when you feel alone, that time when you feel I'm rejected, that is when the grace of God is so much. The grace of God is not when you're at your highest. The grace of God is when you're at your lowest. So the grace of God is with you. So just ask the grace of God from God. Just say, God, increase the grace in me, that I should not become negative, but I should become positive. I should not become bitter. Bitter every time. Give me the grace. Nisataike ambuye kama mukulise chaulere mwaine. And this is how you begin to overcome it. But let me tell you, when you're going through that dark hole of suicide, and even when you're nursing the pain of suicide out of death, let me tell you, God is with you. The only thing God is waiting is to involve him. So involve God. Make your story known to him. And just tell him, God, fight for my right and my cause. You're going to overcome. And it shall be well with you.
You know, like I have done what you said, yeah? Where you feel low and then you just want to be in your own space. And like that, you express it out. I tell you, after everything, I feel better. Even when I had a sad face, after the crying, after the talking to God, after everything, you even feel light, like the burden has left you. I feel it's better.
It is.
Because it's not everything. Okay, sometimes, yes, we are scared to share with someone. But if you go in your space, you and your God, one-to-one like that, it helps.
It does. It does. God is available. He's available. He's very near to the brokenhearted. He's not near to us who are just even talking on a voice of ecclesia here. God is very much interested in your brokenness. More than everything. And that is why God sent his beloved son. Because he knew how sin broke us down. So he said, I am going to heal them. I'm going to heal the sin in them. So God is near them. Yes. So God is near you. So you are not alone. Okay. Family members may be far away from you. Your loved ones would have rejected you. But God is very near. Very near with you.
Bet, how is it?
It's really amazing because this topic, it's one which people don't really pay attention to. People don't sit down and just tell you about, asking you, how are you feeling? How are you? Are you going through anything? People are always asking you about other things, but they never ask you about your well-being. They're asking you, but there are certain things that you want to talk about other than work, other than how is your relationship, but you, yourself. How are you? Some parents, they don't really pay attention to their kids. better from childhood. They think just providing for them, you know, I'm dipping at DSTV, I'm taking care of you. But you don't know what your child is going through. The child wants you to just talk to them. How are you at school? Maybe they're bullying them at school. They want to share that with you. But it's at 22 or 05. So it starts with everyone. Everyone around us. Parents, everyone just has to care for each and every person. You have to take responsibility as a parent. You have to take care of those children that you have brought up. Your friends, you say I'm your friend. You just can't be saying I'm your friend just because I take you out, so we buy what we're chilling, shoes and stuff like that. You're supposed to care that, okay, how is Betty? How is she feeling right now? I've seen she's quiet. How is she? But the only time you would come in the inbox is, oh, boy, the
external thing.
But so we should be caring. We should love ourselves. We should love our neighbors as we love ourselves. That's why it's like this. You love yourself. When you love yourself, you'd actually, when you want someone to talk to you, that's how the other person is feeling. They also want someone to talk to them. So we should encourage our friends. We should just
You see, Betty has reminded me something. Something was telling me in my spirit that should I say this? You see, this might be my conclusion. Please be kind to one another. Let's be also sensitive. Two things: be kind and be sensitive to one another. Number one, when I mean kind, let's avoid these issues of shaming each other. You get into someone's, or maybe you meet as voice of ecclesia. Then someone is putting at their best. So I want to assume the way everyone here is dressed, maybe that is their best. Then they think that's their best. Then they are reaching here to say, but this dressing is off. This is how we begin to cue other people. I mean, how do you come in my inbox? You know very well that I'm struggling to find a job. Then you say, why are you working? Namanjulai, and I mean, no. Sometimes when you bring out certain issues, look, certain people, it's not their fault. Let me tell you this: because I've got a job, don't think that other people that don't have, they're not doing enough. There are certain people that they are coming from a place that do not have connection. They have to make that connection on themselves. So be kind towards one another. You don't know the reason why someone is single. You do not know why someone is a single mother. You do not know why someone had a child at their earliest age. You do not know why someone is quiet. Learn to be kind towards one another. Then when you become kind, you become sensitive towards one another. Then you're going to reduce certain comments. Then instead of giving a comment, you're going to be interested to come near. Why can we talk? Why can you're going to change of saying good morning, how are you? You're going to change good morning, have you eaten? Because let me tell you this, even in Voice of Ecclesia, if people can be honest, if people can be honest, they can tell that I've come here, but I've not eaten. But you know why they're not telling us? Number one, because of the kind of the environment you have created. Monica, I'm not saying that's true, but I'm saying plastic lifestyle that everyone's a full of fitting among savings. You are doing no. Be yourself, guys. I'm struggling. I need a job. It's not wrong. Tell them, post it even in the group, guys. I did this, and I'm looking for a job. That's what it means to be sensitive and to be kind towards one another. When you become kind and sensitive, people open up. And this is why we're going to reduce suicide. But the problem is that we're too quick to judge. We are too quick to tell people that we're at your age, Franco Cherera kuma industry. Do you know the reason why he's not going that side? Okay, so let's stop shaming people. Let's stop cyberbullying. Let's stop fighting people through social media. Let me tell you, today might be your time, but today's judgment. And I don't want to sound too spiritual, but I'm going to tell you, it will be sad when God begins to show you this, to say, this is how you destroyed someone's spirit. And let me tell you, never be a victim. For us in this studio, and even those that are watching this, this is the message that I have for you. It is better people break you, but never break someone. See, tears do not go in vain. I'm concluding. Tears do not go in vain. Let people be the one to make you cry. Let people be the one to make you shed tears. But at all cost, avoid making someone to shed tears. That's what I mean to be kind and sensitive. Be very careful. Yopa, if someone can go in their bedroom and kneel down and to say, God is my pen, because of what Dominic has said to me, is my pain. Don't tell me that you're going to have it easy in life. Don't tell me that you're going to have it. Some of us, the reason why we are struggling, I don't know if I'm diverting from the topic, but I feel like saying this. Some of us, the reason why we are struggling is because there are certain people, we told them things that we are not supposed to tell them. There are some people, we told them things that they're even doubting why they're even existing. Learn to be good to people. Learn to be kind to people. Save a soul. This should be your agenda. Save a soul every day. Uplift a soul. Inspire a soul. Don't break a soul. Don't. Let people be the one to break you. Vantu ndio nkaina pressure na you. Not you ndio na pressure na vantu. Be the one to be broken, if it's possible. But don't break people. Don't break people. Be kind. Be sensitive. Don't break people.
Yeah, really, it's really wonderful. I'm sure our viewers, you've learned something from this topic. Now we are calling it Dear Society.
Dear Society.
Whenever we are seated, it's Dear Society. Going forward. Yes. So we really appreciate to our guest. Thank you so much for your message. I'm sure it starts with us, our voice. We are here and we've learned this from you. So I assure you, our voice, what you've shared. Yes.
That's great.
Yes.
That's great.
Yes. Yes. And also our viewers, I'm sure we've learned a lot from this. Yes. So thank you so much for joining this segment. We say keep supporting Voice of Ecclesia team. We are a team with a lot of songs in our albums, and just 2 days, 3 days, some days we release 2 songs, which you really need to listen to, because they are really great songs. And also keep supporting Remain TV. This is our channel, the channel we are supposed to be enjoying every day. This is our channel. Please, let's keep supporting it. We follow it on Facebook, and please, this show is every Thursday. Don't forget to be following it. Yes, great. Thank you so much. We appreciate.
Really appreciate. As boys, we say we embrace diversity. Bye. Till next time.
Great.